just got back from the Gamblers Anonymous meeting last week. And the first guy gets up there and says, wow, I had to come back in because I'm thinking about betting preseason football. But that's right around the corner, and the temptation will be dangling out there. And I'm sure the FanDuel people would love to tempt you into thinking that this was something you could make a spar on. I don't know that it is. And the man who would probably be on the opposite side of that argument joins us right now from Outkick.com. And, of course, Monster when it comes to any kind of NFL inside information. He's the number one guy. Mr. Jason Cole joins us here on the program. Jason, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. I always thought that betting on preseason football is, without question, the lowest form of degeneracy.
You're talking to our audience here. That's saying a lot. We were betting Korean baseball during the pandemic. Yeah.
Not only the audience for the show, I think that proves nothing.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant good morning, everybody. Great to be with you on this fine Wednesday. The Defo Show, Jeff DeForest and one Mike Lubie Lubitz. And we do have some live action. You can kind of see the reflection of it going on in the Klitschko-Williams poster there. As I did this in honor of our good friend Jim Sarney. I tuned in to the women's semifinal of the World Cup action featuring the host team, Australia, going against England in this particular contest. And so far, it's a mismatch of gigantic proportions as England is completely dominating. And at halftime, the score, England 1, Australia 0. Jim tells me that the Royals are all excited about this. I just saw a clip when England scored their goal. And they have people watching in London. It seemed like it was all women, and they were assembled somewhere in London. And they were all going nuts. And I guess, I don't know, no, they didn't dig up the Queen to attend this game, did they? She's checked out. She's embalmed. You know what? To watch this stuff, you really need... the fortunate thing is it only takes a couple hours total, right?
Yes.
Even with the extra time and all the bullshit and the halftime, still only takes a couple of hours to complete a game. So it goes by quickly, and you're watching a lot of meaningless action.
Yes.
England dominating in terms of time of possession, Lubie. This is very NFL-esque, time of possession. I have to say this, too. I liked Alexi Lawless a lot better when, he kind of looked like Carrot Top, didn't you? He had a look of like Weird Al Yankovic. It was like Weird Al Yankovic with a ball. And I liked him. Now he's straight-laced and businesslike. I guess, I would have to say, knowing nothing about what he's talking about for the most part, but being able to judge analysis of any type just because we're in the analysis business, probably knows what he's talking about, no? Alexei Lawless, what do you think? He's one of the better ones? Is he the A-Rod of soccer analysts? I don't think so. What do you say, Lubie? Do you have any idea if he's saying anything of relevance or not? Significance?
I don't know if he's saying, really eloquent stuff. I really don't know.
Remember when he had this hippy-dippy look and he was out there and what was he, like a midfielder or a defenseman? I guess he was a defenseman.
I think it was a defenseman.
Don't the defensemen stand at midfield half the time anyway?
Yes.
Pretty much, right? I mean, what are they just going to sit back there and cherry pick by their own goal? I don't think so. Anyway, 1-0, a thrill in Manila taking place right now. The Australians obviously, huge sentimental favorite in this game among the fans that are in attendance, but the English very prominent, and they take their soccer very seriously, which is probably the reason that they're such boring fucking people. No? You ever hang out with like people from England, Lubie? I remember spending, a couple of consecutive weekends at the racetrack at the Orange County Fair one time, and I met some people from England, and they were kind of in the seats next to me during the entire meet. And I thought, you guys are great, really nice people, but boring as shit. Boring as all hell. Right? I think I'll have a little tea here. I say, old chap, how are you doing in the market these days? We don't need any of that. And that whole thing with the Royals is a bunch of crap also, isn't it? I mean, has that not been exposed by Meghan Markle and Harry, that it's all a fraud?
Oh,
I'm glad he wrote the book. Shows you what cheese balls these people really were. What did they ever do to become royals? I don't know. Right? Just born into it. It's nice to be born with a silver spoon. All right, it's rare here, Lubie. How are you, by the way? Lubie, you doing all right today? You seem in good spirits. What's happening with you? Anything good? Nothing?
Everything's good. Yeah, I'm here.
That's it? That's your contribution? What?
It's annoying because I care about the Marlins now. So when they have stupid losses, it frustrates me because for 2 decades they were so bad that I didn't care about the dumb losses, especially into August. But you expected the dumb losses, so last night's loss would normally not have bothered me. But with the Phillies fucking losing 2-1, it would have been a great opportunity for the Marlins to capitalize, especially since they had a really good offensive output.
They had this thing in the bag a couple of times. They really did.
It was just annoying. I know you have a whole thing to say, so I didn't want to steal your thunder. But
no, I don't have that much to say about it. I mean, what are you going to do? I would say this, that it's rare, Lubie, and here we are. What? It's August 16th.
Yes.
Midway through the month, just hitting the halfway point, maybe getting into the other side there. You have approximately 6 weeks left in the baseball regular season. A couple of weeks in August, the month of September, and then we're on to the postseason. We're hoping the Marlins are a part of it. Right now, they still are. As they do hold a 1-game lead in the wild card in spite of last night's bitter loss, which had elements of Little League baseball. I think it was a prelude to the Little League World Series, was it not? Did you see how the Marlins got their 5th run? That was incredible.
No. I
mean, just a complete butcher job by the Houston Astros, the defending world champions, and they're playing Little League baseball. Little tapper to the pitcher. I guess it was a grounder to second. The guy throws it away. And in the process, you have a Marlin that's going to make his way to third base on the throwing error. Guy's going to be safe at first. Should have been out by a mile. And the whoever retrieved the ball, I don't know if it was a first baseman or not, but then fires to third to try and get the out at third base and throws the ball into left field. So the Marlins get their 5th run, and they take the lead in the ball game after the game had been knotted up, and they're leading at 5-4. They eventually lose 6-5. On a home run by the Astros. I rarely would think, though, that baseball would be in the spotlight here. I mean, think about it, in the middle of August. When was, it's rare occasion. In 1993, when the team first came to fruition, played its first season, all right, we probably followed it all the way through because we were hoping that they wouldn't exceed the futility of the 1962 New York Mets, my favorite team of all time. Right? Remember when Duke Snider trotted out there? I think he was batting third. He was 72 years old, Duke Snider. Ladies and gentlemen, now batting, what was he, number 3? Number 3. Did he wear number 3? Did he wear the Bambino's number, Duke Snider? What was Duke Snider's number? Do you remember?
I don't know. I'll look it up.
Leslie Visser's Duke, would have been probably, well, he would have been young back then. But nonetheless, Duke Snider, I think he was batting third for the Mets that day. They had a horrible lineup. Kind of similar to what they're doing today, actually. The Post still agonizes over every game. The New York media, they still agonize over every game. They still cover this team as if it was relevant. The New York Mets and the New York Yankees, for that matter, who lost again last night to the Braves, got 1 hit. And now at 60-60 on the season, and you ask yourself the magic question with that, Brian Cashman, how does he keep his job?
Yeah, I don't get that one. I don't know.
What does he have? I mean, you think Hal Steinbrenner was banging that Meanwhile chick also? What do you think? And Brian knows it? And that's the only reason he's still employed as a Yankee general manager. I would ask you this. Somebody probably would hire the guy. What am I missing here with Brian Cashman? I have never been a fan.
I don't get it. He's been and his job. I mean, he is an open checkbook. I get it. The younger Steinbrenners haven't been as willing to spend money, but it's not like they're being cheap. They're not the Marlins owners.
No.
They've been willing to spend money. They had a really good farm system that I don't think he had much to do with. And they still don't win. And they haven't won for well over a decade. Like, I don't understand.
Put together a really bad team. I mean, it's true. Whoever said that to me, I want to credit the Polyman with this. That if you take Judge out of the lineup, are you not looking at the Oakland A's this year?
Yeah, it sucks.
With the Yankees, they're terrible.
Yeah, it's a shitty lineup.
Pitching is horrendous. Just a bad team. 60-60, it's a miracle. They're 500, actually. This is with a huge payroll and with a guy who's been the general manager there for 25 years, Lubie. 25 years. The last, 15? When was the last time they won the championship? Was it like 2010?
2010 was their last World Series championship. And have they been since? They've been to the ALCS, I think, a couple times, but they haven't even been to a World Series, let alone won one since.
No, I mean, by Yankee standards, they're irrelevant. Unbelievable. But, to watch this team now and see where Cashman is safe and Aaron Boone is the guy that's on the hot seat, most Yankee fans will welcome the day that Boone gets canned. They would prefer almost anybody in that spot. But I don't know, how does Cashman get a free pass assembling teams like that? Does he get another job somewhere else? That's always the litmus test. Would somebody else hire Brian Cashman right now if the Yankees fired him to be their general manager?
No, not to be a GM. He'd have to do a step back job, I'm sure, like an assistant GM or something.
What job do you take after you've been the GM of the Yankees for a quarter of a century, Lubie?
I don't know.
Think about how long that guy's been in that office. Unreal. And while he might have had some success, while he was writing fat checks all the time, it's just not happening anymore. And doesn't seem like it's not like you're looking at Theo Epstein here or Billy Beane when you're talking about Brian Cashman. Where's the ingenuity, Brian? Sat chilly at the trade deadline, did nothing to help the team. They've gone south since then. Once Judge was out of the lineup, they were exposed as being almost completely inept. Amazing. Meanwhile, we're writing this Cinderella story here with our Miami Marlins, except for last night. It was a bad loss because, they led 3-0. Two of the runs that they gave up, coughed up to the Astros, came on, I don't know. I mean, how did you see that play in the outfield where Jazz Chisholm and De La Cruz crashed into each other as they were trying to chase down a fly ball?
Like, have you ever seen, I know guys like Rick Ankiel was a pitcher and he lost it, so they moved him to the outfield. I remember that, but that was for extenuating circumstances. Like, you watched a lot more baseball than I have. Like, do you ever remember them trying a guy out at a position he's never played in the big leagues? Like, this isn't center field.
It's happened, yeah.
Like, isn't center field one of the toughest positions to play? Like, when I was growing up, the great defenders were at short, third, and center. Like, the great, like Edmonds and Ken Griffey Jr. And I mean, you had Willie Mays. Like, the great defensive guys were at center. Like, to me, I know he's an athlete, but this experiment is such a goddamn disaster to me. Like, I'm sure he doesn't suck every night, but to watch Jazz Chisholm,
he makes some good plays, and he makes a lot of really bad ones. Tommy Hutton actually very subtly pointed out the mistakes of Jazz Chisholm, unfortunately due to his immense raw and natural talent, where he tries to throw a guy out at third base, and no chance really to do it. He's in center field, feels a base hit, tries to throw a guy out at third. He doesn't even come close to getting the guy at third. In the meantime, he sails one over the head of the cutoff man, and that puts runners at second and third with one away instead of first and third with one away, where you have the opportunity, obviously, Lubie, to get out of the inning with a double play. So naturally, you want to keep that guy at first base. That's as basic as anything that you will see at, Williamsport?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, as basic as anything you've ever heard, right? Make sure you don't let that guy go to second base here because you're trying to make some kind of heroic play. Now, he does have a big arm. And Tommy pointed out on the broadcast, because he kind of had to subtly work it in there. You can't just say, hey, that's a really bonehead fucking play. Not after what happened in Baltimore. I don't know that they're going to be that critical, but Tommy's already been subjected to that, where he wasn't saying anything that wasn't obvious to a lot of people in terms of, hey, you can't play ball like that. And yet the Marlins, supposedly, and the players were like complaining, oh, he said something negative about me.
Wow.
So, play better. The guy's job is to do commentary. Your job is to play. If you're playing lousy and he says so, what should he be held accountable for? It's just like Trump. It was a perfect phone call. I just called and told the guy to rig the election. Right? All I need is like 11,780 votes. What was that implying, by the way, Lubie?
He wanted them to change. He wanted them to do as illegal as you can get. It's pretty clear what he wanted. Like and I get it. Guys aren't perfect in the outfield. And you said it, the Astros had two stupid ass errors on one play that allowed a run. So it happens. It's just to me in August for him to still be doing like De La Cruz is standing under the ball. It's clearly in left. Like, it's not left center. It's in left field. De La Cruz is standing under it. Like, I don't understand what he was even thinking on that fucking play. Like,
well, here it is, though. It was in the gap. All right. De La Cruz is running to his left.
Standing
the ball was hit by a left-handed hitter, so it was tailing towards De La Cruz. as it was slicing away from Jazz Chisholm. And what Tommy said was true. Because he believes so much in his arm, he makes a stupid play and allows a runner to go to second base in a spot where he should have held him at first. And I guess they ended up scoring, right, because of the next play, which was the play where they crashed into each other. But only because Chisholm is so fast. Now a general rule of thumb in baseball was always every ball is a center fielder's if he's calling for it. In other words, the center fielder is kind of like your quarterback on defense, and anything he can get to is essentially his. That was kind of an adage when I was playing baseball. So it goes back hundreds of years. But that was a general rule of thumb that the center fielder, because he was your best guy defensively, usually had first dibs on everything. If he called off the right fielder, then the right fielder had to just go ahead and capitulate to the idea that okay, he's going to catch the ball. So Chisholm actually takes off like a shot. I mean, really covered a ton of ground to get to that spot, and the ball though continued to tail towards De La Cruz, and they're both calling for the ball. Should he have let De La Cruz catch the ball? Yeah, I mean, it would have been great because he had a great angle on it. Unfortunately, they collided. Ball drops and a couple of runs score. That only made it 4-4. The Astros gifted the Marlins a run back with that Little League play. That was the old standard, wasn't it? Where you hit a ground ball to short, goes through the shortstop's legs, goes between the left fielder and the center fielder, rolls all the way to the school.
Oh, yeah.
And then the big fat coach at third base is waving you around. Go ahead, Defo, score. Come on, come on. I wasn't known as Defo back then, but I loved the Little League home run where, you didn't have to do much. It looked like you were going to ground into a double play. Next thing you know, you're a hero. You just hit a grand salami. Unbelievable.
There's the bases. It always bases.
Every bounce looked like it was going to hit Tony Kubek in the throat where we were playing Little League baseball. It was all clumps of grass, right? You didn't have that. That's why we all were jealous of the Rockville Center Little League field where it was perfectly manicured. Anyway, so they lose this game last night. It was horrendous. Gave up a home run. You're not a fan of Cueto. I left the house after 3 innings. Had to go, take Skippy for a walk. So, the Skipster walk usually involves about 20, 25 minutes altogether. He was particularly slow moving around last night, so I missed a couple of innings. But I remember thinking, if I got 3 shutout innings from Johnny Cueto at this point, I'm taking him out of the game. He had thrown 3 scoreless. All right. And so I'm out there, and even Skippy agreed. Skippy was like, man, they ought to lift Cueto. I don't know. You're taking a shot, throwing him back out there. And, when I got back, it was only 3-2, but then I saw that horrendous inning in the 5th. And, that wasn't all his fault, but nonetheless, it didn't work out too well.
I mean, that home run, he left it belt high. It's like, dude, it's just like sitting there.
I liked Skip Schumacher's statement after the game. I know he's trying to be nice about it and protect his players from, criticism and, going ahead and taking it on the chin himself. But he says that other than the home runs that Cueto's been giving up,
there you go.
He's doing a great job.
That's Olivedati. Thank you.
Very Olivedati-esque. I mean, that was from the Tom Olivedati School of Justification and Rationalization. Was it not? If it weren't for the home runs, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
Thank you. I agree. The problem is he gives up at least 1 to 2 every game.
5 homers in the last 3 starts. And now these starts haven't gone all that long. I don't think he's gone past the 5th inning.
It goes to you said it yesterday. You're like, that's the problem with Cueto. It's you usually see him by like the 4th inning pulled, giving up 3 to 4 runs.
Yes, and it's exactly what happened. I mean, he followed the MO. He followed the script. If you were going to script the first 15 plays, if this was football, you could throw a 5 spot up there for the Astros by the 5th inning if Johnny Cueto was on the mound. Not one of the greater acquisitions of the Kim Eng era, where she had, and then of course we had to watch Avisail Garcia come up in a pinch hitting role late in the ball game, and every spot was a key spot at that point, and they just totally buffaloed. They put up a stat. This was unfortunate because it didn't work out for the production crew. They had a stat that against this particular pitcher, the reliever that the Astros had brought in, Garcia had tremendous success. He was 3 for 7 with 2 home runs lifetime against this guy.
Of course.
What they didn't tell you was he hadn't faced him, I don't think, since 2017. I think that was a situation. I really do. I might have gotten that wrong, but I thought I heard Severino say that. Well, the last time he faced him was 2018 or whatever.
There you go.
And you're like, wait a minute. So he hasn't seen his guy in 5 years? Are these stats really relevant? Is this not like being some kind of trend handicapper where you're going back to the War of 1812 and saying, well, that year, Army beat Navy by 16. That was a home game following a Tuesday night affair. You can really get yourself into some kind of, just mental warp zone thinking through these things. But it was promising, right? You're looking, going, okay, he pounds this guy, and 3 of the weakest swings at changeups I've ever seen by Avisail Garcia, who was hitting a robust 182, or at least he was prior to that at bat. Probably now down to 180. Maybe he dipped even to 179, Lubie. That's a guy you're throwing up in a pinch hitting role late in a ball game? Well, he's got some power.
And power.
It never makes contact. It's unbelievable. So the Marlins go down. They do retain their position, though. Did the Cubs play last night? They must have lost also. Because wasn't the Marlins lead 1 game going into last night's competition?
Yes.
So the Phillies lost, and I guess the Cubs lost, and they're
Cubs
still
lost.
1 game up.
Cubs lost, yeah.
In the wild card chase. So, all right, you got to salvage this last one. What do they have going tonight?
They have Luzardo, who actually was good until the last month. And Verlander, who wasn't pitching at all or was not good in New York, but he is a reigning Cy Young winner in the AL in an Astros uniform.
He wasn't terrible in New York, Verlander. He wasn't doing that bad.
I just know he wasn't pitching. Wasn't he hurt? He's going for the Astros. So I'm sure back in that uniform, you'll get to see the fucking Cy Young pitcher. So that's why last night's really annoying, because it was like you would have had 2 in your hand. So if you struggle today, who cares? Now you sort of have to win today. Like, you don't want to lose this series at home when you had game 2, when you put up 5 runs. Like, look, offensively, they had a good outing. It wasn't
bad. Yeah. That guy Javier hasn't been all that much. I was pitching for the Astros, even though he had a big record. He was like 8-2 on the season. But of late, he hasn't been all that effective, and he wasn't that effective last night. He was on the ropes quite a bit, Javier. He was struggling, staggering throughout the ballgame. But when has baseball been in the spotlight here? I mean, it's rare this time of the year, Lubie. Think about it. We're always zeroed in by now on Dolphins preseason minutia, which, as we've discovered, is almost a useless endeavor to sit there and analyze. Although people are in agreement with you, Lubie, you'll find this interesting, that you have almost unanimity among people that the quarterback play for the Miami Dolphins was beyond suspect in this first preseason game. And I have some stats here. It's funny, too, because you know how they always rip Joe Namath for having a lousy passing percentage, completion percentage, like 50% in his career. But you have to take it in context. The Dolphin quarterbacks in the preseason game, Thompson and Mike White were combined 19 of 30. Think about that. That doesn't sound bad, does it? You're completing 67% of your passes practically.
Yeah.
All right. That's equates out, though, unfortunately, to only a 41.5 quarterback rating, which is a statistic I really don't understand.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I mean, what is it? 115.3 or something is a perfect rating? Who came up with this cockamamie?
It's 151.3. I think.
What does it represent? And it's so phony because, a very detrimental grade would be factored in for a guy picking off a pass, let's say. And I don't know. Does it matter if it's a pick 6 or not? Does that factor into the equation? Or do they just, an interception is this and doesn't matter what the result is on the return? Or if it results in a score for the other team. But think about it. I mean, how much of it is just sometimes arbitrary bad luck on a quarterback? And it's so detrimental to his quarterback rating where a receiver has a ball bounce off his chest, pops in the air, some lineman picks it off and ends up, going back for a touchdown. And that goes against your rating, as does the reverse, which would be just a completely lucky catch by your guy after you threw it into triple coverage and somehow it slipped through. The defensive backs with the Roberto Duran hands of stone messed up the play, and it goes for a touchdown, something you had nothing to do with. So quarterback rating, though, 41.5. That I know this much is a very low rating. Yeah. Yes.
It's bad, yes.
149 yards, 3 interceptions. Here's the one that would be a little bit frightening, although I know these were backups. They took 5 sacks in the game. 5 sacks.
They or him. Like I that feels more. All these stats feel like Skylar Thompson. Mike White just.
White had the pick at the goal
Mike
line.
White just was late on 3 throws. Other than that, Mike White was fine. I just don't like that he had. And the professor and I were talking yesterday, and he didn't like the play calling by the goal line. He thought it was plays that were great for Tua, but not good for backups. But here's the thing, like their offense is what their offense is. Mike White's supposed to be quote unquote Tua-esque in the sense that he's supposed to fit Mike McDaniel's offense. Then when else are you going to learn how to run it, but in the preseason? So I don't mind the complicated plays because Tua's going to miss some time. So he needs to be able to make the complicated throws. My problem was he was late. Like if you watch those plays, like
but it was the first preseason game. I mean,
I'm not
got to the team.
Mike White's not my big issue. I was frustrated because the plays were there. They moved the ball really well.
Yeah.
White looked fine, and then he was just late. And I was like, ugh.
But should you only look at the positive there? I mean, you know, the rookie running back that people were surprised they took because they already had a couple of running backs. He looked pretty sharp.
He looked good,
yeah. You know, and as you said, I mean, they flashed a bunch of talent at backup positions, at the skill positions, that was somewhat impressive. If you're thinking, wow, if these are your backups, then and we already know that they have real superstar talent, at especially the 2 wide receiver positions. So, and you know, physically, among the fastest, if not the fastest, running back in the league, who also runs hard, in Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
Who, you know, averaged almost 5 yards a carry and still somehow never got the ball last year. Tess was kind of holding back, wasn't he? That's his man. I mean, if anybody embodies the whole spirit of Brett Tesser's agent career, it's Raheem Mostert, a guy who was cut 7 times by different teams and somehow hung in there, ended up being the MVP of the NFC Championship game a couple of years ago with San Francisco. And certainly after, you know, serious knee injuries, come back and acquitted himself very well. I mean, this guy just goes out there and works. Anyway, get back to it, though. I mean, when was the last time baseball was in the spotlight, Lubie, this late in the season? You had 93, 96 to a lesser degree, 1996, when you saw the you know, elements were in place there. The components were in place to maybe make a championship run. Dombrowski had gone out there. He had Kevin Brown on the roster. We already had, Al Leiter, wasn't he with that 96 team too? He was, right? And so you had some of the, you know, some of the ingredients that you would need to make some kind of championship run the next year, which they then went out and spent even more money, and they got the team together. And in 97, they were clearly relevant in August, as they had a big September that year, sparked by, Lubie, when Gary Sheffield. That was the thing. I mean, everybody was talking about Darren Dalton. And Dalton came in here and hit like about 260 or something, you know, and had a couple of key hits. Everybody remembers him limping around like it was Kirk Gibson when he legged out that one triple. And he was saying, man, that's what it is. That's the kind of thing it takes to win championships. Look at this guy leading by example. But the truth was, it was like Gary Sheffield, I believe, had a monster September. Otherwise, the Marlins don't even sniff the postseason that year. But they stayed relevant in August. And then it happened again, 2003? And that was about the last time, wasn't it? Other than, you know, seeing Stanton, if he could catch it. It's a shame. I mean, the whole Victor Conte thing, it's a shame that the numbers in baseball became so out of whack with anything that would represent what they should reflect historically, you know? Where 60 home runs in a season, then 61 should have been the barometer. Because, you know, there was Stanton with 59 home runs that year. That was fantastic. Going back to, what was that, 2017? And that was probably the last time, right, that we saw. Well, I mean, they did make the postseason in the COVID year. But other than that, we've rarely been paying attention to baseball at this time of the season or agonizing over what was kind of a comical loss last night. But I don't know. Do you throw Johnny Cueto? You keep throwing him out there? You have to
get rid of him. No, he can't pitch.
How could you leave him out there, though? I mean, after he got touched up for a couple of runs, wouldn't you have lifted him? Taking a shot with your bullpen?
Well,
I don't.
See, that's the Braxton Garrett games. The problem with him is, like, he was now the last month outside of this week, he was a disaster, but he was pitching well because he's the bullpen arm. Like, so whenever he starts, it's a bullpen start. Because even when Braxton Garrett's pitching well, he doesn't pitch more than 5 innings. So that I think fucks their bullpen. Because every time Braxton Garrett starts, they throw at least 3 relievers out there, at least 3.
I get nervous when I see Okert warming up, don't you? Although he's not horrible,
okay.
but
He's okay.
Seems very suspect to me whenever I see Okert. Okert is the new Dylan Floro for me.
Yeah, he's in. But like, so that's the problem is when Cueto goes out there after Braxton Garrett start, they now are sort of limited in the bullpen, I think, because you're right. Once he served that home run ball up, like it was a fucking joke. You know he's done. Like it's going to be the flood.
Didn't that look like a meatball at Monterano's?
It was like belt high.
Okay, you want the first bite? I'll take it. Big round thing with pork in it. That's the secret, Lubie. Put a little pork in there. That's what you have to do. Yeah, it looked like the appetizers at your wedding. I mean, just somebody coming around with a little silver tray. Would you like some more of these cheese balls? They're fantastic. How come they were all pink? Did they tell you that when you...
breaded. They weren't pink. They were all breaded things, but they were all different. There were 4 different things. They just happened to be breaded and fried. We like...
Oh, you froze on me.
I'm sorry about that. You see me? They were all breaded. They weren't all pink. They were just all breaded and fried. So I apologize for that. But we liked them. I know you didn't even really try them because you thought it was the same thing coming around over and over again.
I think they must have had the same girl. She kept grabbing the same tray. Not sure what they were. That was the thing. Well, when you have to ask, hey, what are these? That's not a good sign. They're croquettes. It's like you're reading somebody who was crocheting. What are you talking about? All right. So anyway, we lose that game last night. The Marlins. It's now a we, and that was very unfortunate. I am emotionally invested now in the Marlins games.
100%.
I now look forward to the starting time. Even tuning away from my usual CBS evening news to get the start of the Marlins games. And I was nervous, and Skippy was also. And he said, I mean, if Skippy was managing a team, if it was Skippy Dog instead of Skip Schumacher, Cueto would have been out of there after 3. We would have considered it a miracle that we got 3 scoreless out of Cueto. Whoosh, right out the door. How about some gut instinct in managing? Come on, Skipper. You couldn't have figured that was going to, persist. Or Cueto was going to shut him down. You had a chance to beat the Astros, and you're right. I mean, should you have been aware that, listen, tomorrow is going to be pretty hard to imagine a victory or carve a victory out of because we're going against Verlander, and he loves being back in Houston because he hated the Mets, it turned out.
Yes.
What is he, like James Harden? What does this guy have to complain about?
I don't know.
Justin Verlander. Got the hot babe model wife, Upton, and then Kate Upton. And she seems like a gas, too. I mean, like imagine being like a gorgeous chick, and then on top of it, you're a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, she goes to games. You never hear her bitch.
Nothing.
Giving her to work.
How is this possible?
Years.
Who finds a woman like that? Nobody. Except Justin Verlander, and still he was pissed off because, the Mets' $40 million wasn't enough to pacify him at this point, although he seems like a decent guy. We hope he gets rocked today. Justin Verlander, 7-6 on the season, Lubie, a 3.19 earned run average. So the record might be somewhat deceptive due to the fact that he was playing for a lousy Mets team. His team is 9-9 in games that he started this year. And his last 3, though, see, here's the thing, Lubie. You're saying he wasn't playing well.
No, he was playing well. I just remember he was hurt. It wasn't like he was pitching poorly. Scherzer's the one that was up and down. He was hurt.
Scherzer's been dynamite, by the way, since he went to Texas.
Of course.
He threw like 7 innings of one-hit ball the other night. As soon as you get out of New York, man, I don't know what that is. It's like, players come to the Miami Heat and they just play extremely well. Yeah. And then they go and remember Ike Austin? Yeah. Whatever happened to Ike Austin after he got all that money?
It was a disaster.
Right? Couldn't play.
Remember your Dolphins? You used to love that. The Dolphins guys were horrendous here.
Yes.
Super Bowl MVP.
The minute they left, Devontae Parker turns in like Jerry Rice. It's incredible. That's amazing, really. I mean, anybody that you can... Wes Welker, he was all right here, but was he a superstar? I don't think so. Still doing commercials, coaching in the league? You wouldn't have seen that. No. So, and we send out for this ball game Luzardo, as you mentioned. Luzardo's been getting almost Cueto-esque lately, hasn't he?
The last 4 starts have not been good. And he was really good into the All-Star break. The last 4 starts.
Yes, he looks like he has great stuff.
Yeah, well, he's one of those prospect dudes that they got, and he's a good pitcher. He just, I don't know what's happened to him since the All-Star break. He's just not been good.
Has not been effective, and you're watching and saying, okay, I mean, it looks like, some pretty tough pitches to hit, and then he gets banged around, and it's been ugly. So you're already chalking it up as a loss. Let's see how prohibitive are the odds here, because maybe we can make a score. Oh, very slight favorite, the Astros in this game. You only have to lay 125 to win 100 if you think that this is going to be the blowout that you're anticipating, Lubie. And the Marlins, you're getting plus 105. I don't think I would take the Marlins with that slight of an advantage in terms of the odds. Doesn't it seem like you should be getting like plus 150 if you could beat Verlander 3-2? Would that be fair, Lubie? You don't know if Verlander's going to be the ultimate deciding factor, but of late he has been, and the Astros just as desperate to win games as the Marlins because they're trying to win the division title, and then on top of that, maintain a spot in what has been an extremely competitive wild card race. I think it's almost as competitive in the American League, but not quite as much. The National League has so many teams, including lurking in the distance there, the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have been fading into oblivion, but are only 2.5 out of the wild card spot, so can't be discounted. And do you throw the Padres in there? 5.5 out of the wild card with 6 weeks to go. Too many teams to circumvent and to leapfrog over to make it into the postseason? Probably so. All right, so that's it. Yeah, there's our baseball synopsis for today. An ugly game. A Little League run scored by the Marlins fails to stand up, and they give up a couple of Little League runs. Guys crashing into each other. Jazz Chisholm throwing it right over. Cutoff man is like, here.
That's such a Little League thing to do.
I don't mind an aggressive outfield throw, though. In general, I mean, if there was more of a chance of having nailed that guy, I would have thought, all right, it was worth it. But I know for the runner to move up to second base in that spot, especially in a tight ball game, is something that, I mean, did he not see the Tom Umansky tape? The second, bonehead play, though, when they crashed into De La Cruz, was strictly a result of the fact that the guy is so lightning fast. Yeah. And he had made a great play on the base paths earlier in the ball game to score a run for the Marlins. So, it's a mixed bag with this guy. He has what you see is, I don't know, he flashes every now and then Acuna Jr. type ability. I don't think he'll ever be the home run hitter that Acuna is, and will never be the player Acuna is for that matter. But, every now and then you see this flash of just raw, genuine, extraordinary talent. And that was even on display in this butchered play that he had, both of them, but ended up being a loss. All right, a lot of other stuff happening. Tony's going to join us, a little old school. That's coming up top of the hour on this Wednesday edition of the program. Later on today, Mike Mayo, Max's Grill. Max's Grill in Boca Raton, right?
Yes, sir.
Max's Grill. That's a nice place. I used to eat there more frequently. It's been a while. I want to say a couple of years ago. Might have had some lunch meeting there with a bunch of guys that were going to start what I thought was going to be our ticket to financial freedom, Lubie. But unfortunately, we had a lot of meetings and I ate a lot of good food. That was about it. That's very Dick Steen-esque, isn't it? Speaking
what
of
it
man.
feels like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where was he? Where was he taking those pictures last night? Where was that? He had some kind of shrimp pasta dish going?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea where he was.
Doesn't he abide by his own rules when he sends us these pictures? Give us the name of the restaurant and where it's located.
No, he never does. I never know what he's doing half the time.
No. I don't think he knows what he's doing.
Oh, that's probably true.
I know he'll be scarfing some food today at Max's Grill. I don't think I want to embarrass himself in front of Burt Rappaport if he's out there, the great restaurateur, Burt Rappaport, who is we're tuning into just for the stories alone about the days of the Cocaine Cowboys and what was the name of the place that he had? That was like a legendary joint that he opened up, and they were packed in every night, and he brought bands in there. It's fantastic.
The one where he founded freaking Gloria Estefan.
Right. Yeah, she came in as like, you want to let this chick sing a couple?
Backup singer.
It's like, look, I'm paying the band already. I got 3 pieces here. You think I want to add in another one? And it turned out to be, the origins of the Miami Sound Machine. All right, we'll be out there. Max's Grill, Boca Raton. That's Meisner Park, 12 o'clock today, the Mike Mayo Show. Tony's going to join us in a few minutes, and we'll continue in a moment here on the Defo Show. Now that.
Mayo is right. The napkin did say Tropical Acres on it, so neither of you is paying attention at all.
I thought that might have been Tropical Acres there. Kind of looked like it, right? All right. Was it half price wine night? That's why he was there.
Yes.
Oh, he said he was going to have his daughter drive him there.
He did, yes. He said it.
So that he could get smashed and she could drive him home. I hope he didn't embarrass the show in front of Jack Studiali, no? Jack loves him. It's 7:47. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
The winner to organize the 2022 FIFA World Cup is Qatar.
We now return to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Tony coming up at 8 o'clock, a little old school. We'll do that for a while and then be with you till 9 o'clock today. As, we sort of had all of that baseball euphoria going, and it ended in a little bit of disaster last night for the Marlins. But Jim Sarney reminds us, Messi mania in full swing. Now, I am convinced, and we will find this document. And I don't know that we need to be this Georgia prosecutor, Jack Smith. We will find a document, the inter-office memo among MLS conspirators that say, hey, no matter what, Messi has to score a goal, at least one in every game. We're not all paying this cat to go out there and just run up and down in a pair of shorts with his tattoos and his whole thing. And you're wondering, who's the short guy and when is he going to do something? So last night, did you see this goal that he scored? First of all, Inter Miami CF.
Yes.
Was such dog meat, they were a disgrace. If the MLS had one of those systems like they do in Europe where you play so badly you get out of like
Relegation.
Group 1 or whatever it is.
Relegation, yes.
They would have been relegated to like youth soccer. They were that bad.
Yeah, they had lost 11 in a row before
Pathetic, right? Fired a coach. We didn't even know who the coach was. Who was it?
No idea.
Can you name the previous coach? Can you name the current coach?
Tata Martino. I watched their game, so yes, I know who. He's a Mexican national coach. He coached at Atlanta United prior.
Well, what is he doing besides saying, okay, Lionel, go do your thing?
Doing nothing. He has nothing to do with any of this.
Nothing to do with it. Yeah. Meanwhile, they annihilated like one of the better teams in the MLS last night on the road. Yeah,
they finally played one of the good teams in the MLS, and maybe they were fucking around because they played their best match by far.
Annihilated this team.
They scored in the first 3 minutes.
It's like they were spotted a couple of goals. But did you see the Messi goal? You can't tell me that this isn't rigged.
That was ridiculous.
He's 100 yards away from the net there. He's practically, talking to his own goaltender. Kicks a grounder through the middle. It was like a Little League home run. It was exactly like the ground ball through the shortstop's legs that rolls to the school that we were talking about earlier. A grounder with nothing. It wasn't like, you watch this thing and say, my God, how could this guy possibly architect a kick like that, man? Holy Joe Nedney. I've never seen a ball move like that. Incredible. But no, just a cheap grounder, Lubie, that rolls through like 6 guys and somehow completely zamboozles the goaltender. So far out of position that even from 100 yards away, to stop a bowling ball from 100 yards away. That's
When it rolls.
got to be one of the leading goaltenders in the league. Like Philadelphia was this giant juggernaut of a team. You can't tell me that it's not rigged. When do we find this? I mean, is it on Hunter's laptop? How do we find a memo that says and mandates, and who would it come from that would have the authority to have all the other teams in the league just line up and say, "Oh yeah, that's okay. No, we're playing for the Sheik." Have the Saudis bought the MLS yet? Probably looking into it now that Messi's involved. Did you, I mean, think there was something cheesy, a little bit suspect about that goal, Libby? Messi scoring last night to keep his streak alive of scoring at least 1 goal in every game?
I mean, it was early in the game, so he could have still scored later. But like watching the replay, the announcers losing hit, and I'm like, that was a ridiculous goal. Like that was like when a little kid scores a goal. Like
Yeah.
So it was. Look, guys will score from far away, but like a hockey, like it's a slap shot. Like they kick it far as fuck, and usually when they kick it hard, it sails over. But
Sails, it's hooking, it's slicing, it's rising, it does all kinds of crazy shit.
finally, one time they kick the crap out of it, and it doesn't sail. So
Nothing.
kick it from far away, and they kick it really hard. The goalie's not going to get to that ball. Good for them. That ball was not that. He literally
This is a rolling piece of shit.
on the ground the whole way. Like, and it was slow. It wasn't even that fast.
There are no other. I mean, it's not like his vision was blocked. It's not like he's in there, trying to be a hockey goaltender or anything. Where you're saying, "Oh, okay, Igor, I can understand why you missed that." I mean, there were 6 guys standing in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys looking at it from a mile away.
It was a ridiculous goal. It was like, how did that?
He could have gotten Messi's autograph, run out to where Messi was, gotten his autograph, and run back and still made the save.
It was like stupid.
And it was just a kind of a meaningless number that was tacked on to an already insurmountable lead that the Inter Miami CF had attained. And what did they ever lose another game? Is that how did it's impossible, really? I mean, you could put the Bambino on the Marlins in his prime, and it still wouldn't necessarily be enough to turn the team around completely, would it? One guy. This was a team that wasn't close to being good, though.
No, they literally had lost 11 in a row, and they haven't lost since.
Bottom. I mean, they have a 15-team division and a 30-team league, and they were the last place team in their division.
Yes, 100%.
By a mile. I mean, it was so out of it that you would have thought maybe that they end up doing a little contraction in the league. They just say, who needs a team in Miami? What do we need that for? They have this new stadium thing going up. They were deemed to be one of the most inept franchises in all of professional sports just a few short months ago.
100%. Yep.
People were talking about Jorge Nomas, geez, I mean, thank God this guy didn't buy the Marlins. Now it's just the opposite. That land, by the way, I mean, did you see that? They finally got to buy Aaron Brockovich that they can go ahead and build a stadium because it's laced with something that is just so dangerous that I don't know that anybody would really want to go there, right? I mean, are there any lawsuits about the Melreese Golf Course there where people got like mesothelioma or something? Which it's almost to the point now where I feel like if you're a hypochondriac at all, don't you feel like maybe you have this, Lubie? Should you check yourself out?
Oh, if you watch TV at all, you're gonna think you have every disease known to fucking man. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of commercials that are.
I almost feel like I drank the water at Fort Lejeune. Got a little something going on in the throat here. I wasn't ever in the Army. What the hell? I'm sure there are people trying to file claims saying that they knew somebody who was at Fort Lejeune. Somehow this shit must be contagious.
If you, and then the list, it's everything any human's ever done. It's like, oh, I did that.
Let me deliver you the kiss of death here for the Marlins. Just caught my attention right now. Marlins will lose to Astros. Oh, will lose to Astros. Okay. I thought this guy was picking the Marlins.
Was that for yesterday or today? That was for
This is for today, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, and it was a play on words with Luzardo starting. He says, this is a guy named Tanner McGrath, actionnetwork.com.
There you go.
I'm a fan of Marlins starting pitcher Jesus Luzardo, but he's been slipping recently. He's allowed 15 earned runs over his past 3 starts and is making more mistakes in the heart of the zone, hanging his slider and not keeping his fastball high enough. How about that, Lubie? That's pretty in-depth here for a guy that's just going to recommend that you go ahead and send in a couple of sticks. Stuff Plus. How about that for an analytic? Stuff Plus is a metric used to quantify the nastiness of a pitcher's arsenal based on its physical characteristics, such as velocity, movement, and release point. They really get into all of this shit? I mean, can you imagine? You think Whitey Ford was studying Stuff Plus? I don't think so. The stat is normalized so that 100 is the league average. If you have a Stuff Plus 100 rating on your fastball, you have a league average fastball. All right? You following all this?
Sure.
This is this guy's rationale for you to go ahead and play the Astros today, which you could have just said, hey, you know what? Astros, Verlander, it's lights out. It's over.
Yep.
In the first half of the season, Luzardo was one of the league's better pitchers in the league by Stuff Plus at 104. But he checks in with a below-average Stuff Plus mark over the past month, 97, reaffirming the eye test that something is off. Meanwhile, Astros starting pitcher Justin Verlander has improved as the season has progressed. He's posted a 1.95 earned run average over his past 9 starts. Wow. Ranking above average in Stuff Plus during the stretch at 101. I'll bet on the improving veteran over the regressing youngster with these two facing off in South Beach on Wednesday. Take the Astros and lay the 125, Louie. Does that not sound like supreme logic? So maybe we're in there with a shot today. That made more sense. I mean, could you analyze this in any more detail than to go to the Stuff Plus quotient and the fading Luzardo versus the oncoming train that is Justin Verlander, now happy to be in Houston again. Marlins 7, Astros nothing. What do you think?
I was going to look. He feels right.
How could you argue with that?
He feels right. Those guys.
This isn't Skip Bayless telling you LeBron sucks. But it's gambling, my friend. And that's why we know that,
Exactly.
the heartbreak of psoriasis is far less painful than the heartbreak of getting your ass kicked by your bookmaker. All right, we're coming back. Tony Segreto is going to join us, so we'll see how he feels about things. And the Messi mania continued. It looked like Australia ran away and hid. England ran away and hid from Australia in that game, right? And that was just an absolute, period of pandemonium there where they scored like 3 goals in a short period of time, the two teams combined. And I want to say England won that thing 3-1.
I know they won.
I wasn't even paying attention when I was paying attention. How about that? Boring ass game. Come on, man. You got to be kidding me, Jim. I love Jim Sarney, but he's wrong about this, and so is the rest of the world.
You sound like Trump. Everyone's it's a witch hunt. 12 different.
I'm getting indicted for you. 12
investigations.
Bring it on.
It's like, that's a lot of witch hunts, bud. I don't think you know what a witch hunt is.
I hope I live long enough to see the trial, because that's probably going to be a while. That Georgia one, where they're going to try and get like 19 people together and try them all at once. I'm not sure about that strategy. I guess it's worked for this woman before. And I'd love to see her succeed, but because all of these people deserve what they have coming. But nonetheless, imagine watching Trump's puss as the other 18 defendants are squirming. And it really will look like an old mob trial, right? Where, the other guys probably go ahead and they get the fake oxygen tanks.
Yep,
and they're in wheelchairs. And the Trumpster's just making that puss like he was John Gotti. Like, which one of these rats is going to flip?
Exactly.
They got their families in headlocks in the audience there. The people turn around and go, no, I don't think he ever called me Donnie Trump. I don't know anybody named DJ Trump. He said Michael Corleone did this.
Exactly.
I mean, we're talking, the Pentangeli testimony, I think, here over and over again. All right, coming back with Tony Segreto here. Do a little old school in a moment. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. Now that. The time. And Michael Corleone did that. And I said, yeah, sure. It's 8:01.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Catholic Health Services and Texas Roadhouse.
All right, welcome back to the show, the Defo Show here, and we welcome to the program this guy is great. Iconic broadcaster. He's done it all. He's seen it all. He's been here since the very beginning. I think he was here when Henry Flagler built the first railroad. We welcome Tony Segreto to the show.
I bring sanity to the show.
Yo, I don't know about that, Tony. I mean, of late, I mean, you're all over the place. It's amazing, and we noticed a little bit of a change in the sense that you would have been the last one to ever poo-poo anything, and you're not caught up in the same Messi mania that a lot of people are. Did you see this bogus goal last night by any chance?
Yeah.
On a highlight show or anything?
Yeah.
You ever seen anything quite like that?
Most of the time I poo-poo your conspiracy theories.
Yes.
100% of the time, actually.
Well, I mean, they're very popular today.
But boy, I wonder about this theory that Messi's got to score a goal every game, because this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. He can't be that much better than everybody else.
I mean, he kicks a grounder, Tony, and this thing never goes in any soccer game at any level.
He did everything after.
It would never result in a goal, this particular play. We've seen everything. I mean, we've seen Brazil get an own goal off the ass of one of their defensemen to open up a World Cup. I mean, you see a lot of bizarre stuff in soccer, right? People are hitting a ball off the back of their head and it goes in. But that, I mean, from midfield, he kicks a grounder, like a little dribbler.
And it goes
Not
in.
particularly fast, and all the guys are watching it like it was a hand grenade just rolling by. Like, whoa.
It goes in. It's crazy. It's crazy. But God bless him. He's making the money, and he's supplying a show, and he's scoring goals, and they're going to be in the finals. So
I don't know that we've ever seen a team, take on one guy. I guess it happens sometimes in basketball, and more likely where one guy can be more influential. But this team was garbage. I mean, they were the worst team in the league by far, and now they're invincible.
I know. They're invincible.
Have you ever seen it? With one guy, I'm trying to think of an example where one guy just came in and that was it. Outside of basketball, where, as we said, I mean, all of a sudden you put LeBron on your roster, you're a contender.
Yeah.
But, and in soccer, you wouldn't think that this would be possible.
No, not at all. Not at all.
They can't lose. Yeah.
We got football coming up next week.
Yes.
We have football this week. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm looking here. You know us. We love the smell of point spreads in the morning. And
I love them too now. So greet them on.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the full slate of point spreads for the second week of the preseason here, Tony.
Yeah.
And did you watch the Dolphin game at all? What did you think? Did you get anything out of that?
No.
No?
I tuned in. I tuned out. I tuned in. I tuned out. I tuned in. I tuned out. That's exactly what I did.
Okay.
I see where it was, and then I'll figure. Did you watch it?
I watched a lot of it. I wouldn't say that I was riveted to it. I mean, it's funny because you do this just like we do, where all through the preseason, you're warning everybody, well, don't take it too seriously. It's only the preseason. And then we dissect every play.
Yeah.
Lubie's already deemed the Mike White experiment to be a complete failure. And they should have saved the $8 million and spent it on an offensive lineman. But, it's the first preseason game. So I don't know. I mean, to expectations for, something that I was looking to see, I guess, we saw a little bit of depth, as Lubie pointed out, at the skill positions for the Dolphins, so which is a good sign. And that their rookie running back, who it was a surprise they went in that direction when they took this kid in the third round, looks like he could be an NFL player.
He's a real deal.
Yeah.
And Lubie, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I don't know what's going on with this show. Segreto's agreeing with Defo's ridiculous shit, and
what happened here?
And Segreto's agreeing with me and my ridiculous shit.
I had an epiphany. I had this epiphany. Epiphany last night.
The 5-6 years we've been doing this.
Well, I was laying in bed. I was laying in bed, and I closed my eyes, and the sun opened up, and the moon opened up, and the sky opened up. And then there was Lubie and Defo standing there like gladiators, and they just said, "There they are."
We're right all along. I know we were right about something. You know whose name I've been blanking on throughout the last hour on the show?
Who?
He freezes right then.
He freezes right then. Right then.
I'm like, who?
Yeah, who? Who was he thinking of?
He's here. He just came back. So, all right, what were you saying, Dave?
Lubie's in recovery mode. Okay, we got everybody. Huh? What happened? Was that me? Was that you?
We lost you.
We got Tony's frozen.
No,
you're frozen now.
No, we lost you.
No, we're all back.
Are we back on track here? Okay.
Yep.
We're here.
Yeah.
Are you here? We're here. You went in and out. So you said you were.
I was blanking the last 4 minutes on. What was that now with you guys? You got there? Hello?
We're here. We're here.
We're here. There you go. There you go. You cleared up.
All right. You got us? All right.
Okay.
Very good. What do you got? You got gremlins working here, Tony. This didn't happen when you were on NBC all those years. Right? Where the screen went blank. They put the wrong graphic up. All of a sudden, you're talking about Don Shula. They got the war in Ukraine up there.
It's you. It's you.
It's me. All right, so and Lubie, and this was a direct correlation, I guess. To, example of Lubie.
He goes again.
As Chisholm, Lubie. But do you remember when was it Juan Samuel? He made that transition. We were Tony about guys. He thinks it's
whoa.
On Jazz Chisholm to be a center fielder. Which we've got Tony locked down. We're totally out of sync here.
We're gonna have Defo restart his computer, and we'll join him then. We did talk. You would have been proud of us. We talk a lot of baseball to start the show today, which is something that I know you've always been excited to talk about. That we really didn't do much of it until this season. Maybe Defo's back now and he's stronger now. Let's see.
What do you think?
All right, I don't know. Me, are you there? Or do we?
That might have been the most awkward 5 minutes of this show that we've done. All right, so
who was it? First of all,
I was talking about Juan Samuel. Remember Juan Samuel? Was it with Philadelphia that he transitioned from second base to center field?
Yeah.
Okay, but he was a very competent center fielder. I don't know that he was like Mickey Mantle or anything. But we were talking, I don't know if you saw the game last night with the Marlins, but
no, I didn't see it.
Jazz Chisholm playing center field. Lubie's upset because he made a couple of plays that you might see at Williamsport coming up in the next week, where he overthrows the cutoff man on an ill-advised play, puts a runner in scoring position, and then later on crashes into the left fielder as they're both going for a line drive, and the two-run score that eventually became part of a losing formula for the Marlins.
But you see, you don't see those plays in Williamsport.
No. Yeah, they're professionals. Yeah, you're right. They may be better than the Marlins. Some of those teams that come over from Chinese Taipei or whatever.
God, I was watching those kids yesterday. My God, there's the way they fire the ball, the way I could not line up against them.
Now, were you involved in like Miami Little League baseball, Tony?
Oh yeah, I was.
Okay. How was that? Was that good? Quality of play? I mean, you had guys like, was Charlie Huff on your Little League team?
No,
throwing knuckleballs?
Charlie Huff was 2 years older than I am.
Oh, okay.
So
that didn't mean that wouldn't exclude him from playing Little League baseball in most jurisdictions.
But the Little League ball that I played was okay. It was better as I got older, and then I joined a team that we toured the Southeast and
oh yeah, wow,
yeah,
as a Little League player,
yeah.
Very good, man. That would have been exciting. I never got that kind of traction. I mean, I was on a couple of teams that the idea of traveling was like going from Belmore to Massapequa. It wasn't like we were going to tour Italy or anything. Yeah.
Defo doesn't know who you're talking about.
No, I have no idea what you're saying.
Oh, I mean, these were city towns on Long Island that were like a few miles apart. But the quality of play definitely is far superior. It's kind of like I guess the evolution in every sport. But my thing was, I mean, the Little League pitching mound distance has never changed.
No, never.
I mean, didn't you love pitching off a Little League mound if you ever pitched? It was like
did.
40 feet from home plate.
Yeah.
Everybody looked like Nolan Ryan in Little League baseball.
Yeah. Hey, listen, point spreads. So you said you smell the point spreads.
All right. Why? You have a game for us, Tony? You're locked in on something?
No, but I want to know what they are.
For the
for the Dolphin games? I mean, you're talking about what? Preseason games? Preseason, they're all relatively close. They're all like 3-point spreads, pretty much.
Is that it? Just the preseason games? We don't have any college games yet?
We do have college games, yeah. We have, well, they're not listed in today's paper, but or in this little box that I have, but I saw them yesterday. I mean, you still have Notre Dame 20 over Navy, and I guess that's going to be the first game that pops up on any schedule.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen. I don't remember any of the other lines, but I know people. This might be ill-advised in your frame of mind, Tony, and from your perspective. But people are saying send it in on Navy. That Notre Dame won't cover the 20, even in Ireland, where they're playing a game. What do you think?
I don't know. There's been a lot of talk about Sam Hartman and about their running backs and about their skill position players. Their defense is good. I think
second year now for the head coach. So
I put it on Notre Dame. I'm going to.
You would lay 3 touchdowns with the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, I'm going to for the Orange Bowl committee. I'm going September 30th to the Notre Dame Duke game to cover. And
now what exactly are you looking for there, Tone? Oh, you familiarize that is a great racket that you're in.
Yeah, it's a great.
You familiarize the 2 teams potentially coming to the Orange Bowl with the hospitality that you'll experience here in Miami.
Yeah,
what kind of expense account do you have on that?
Pretty good.
Like, I mean, do you already have the places picked out? Where is that going to be? Like in Raleigh? I mean,
yeah, it's going to be in North Carolina. So, I mean, we'll go to the Duke head coach's home. We'll go to the athletic director's home. We'll meet with Marcus Freeman.
Just you by yourself, or like with a whole committee?
No, me and another person. I don't know who else is going, but
all right,
another person. So I guess
how do you get a job like that, Tony? Just by being an iconic broadcaster? I mean, that is a fucking great job.
It is.
Did you hear this, Lubie? He's going to the Notre Dame Duke game to just grease the Duke people and the Notre Dame people in case, on the off chance that either of these teams, there's no shot Duke is making the Orange Bowl this year.
No,
zero,
none whatsoever.
Unless there's mass defection from the ACC and they all immediately go to the SEC like tomorrow. What do you think? There could be an ACC third place representative that goes to the Orange Bowl.
But I think that. But I think Notre Dame has a good shot at being good, at being pretty good. But I think Florida State has the best shot at all of them, being as good as they say they are.
Did you just say that to bolster Lubie's doubts about the team?
I said it for truth. They're about as good as they've been in years, and Norvell has got a level head, and he's keeping really quiet about all these. You notice he's keeping quiet about all these ratings, rankings, and I think they'll come out on fire. I just think they'll come out on fire.
I like the quarterback, and if he gets any better, I mean, you would have to think that maybe you're speaking truth here, Tony Segreto.
Now Miami is a crapshoot. It really, really is. I can't wait to see them play.
You don't find that a little awkward though? I mean, shouldn't they be like a very solid, a team that you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a real good year for them because they got Mario Cristobal back here for year number 2.
I think they're waiting to see.
They were waiting with Al Golden, though. I mean, come on. We were waiting with Randy Shannon.
They don't. I think they don't. They don't.
Larry Coker. He even had a championship under his belt by his second year.
I think they have to wait and see. The only thing they have going for them is they got the quarterback coming back.
Yeah.
Okay,
and that's it.
But he was horrible last year.
Like, is this offense more catered to him? Like, that was the problem last year. Was that offense was a Cristobal offense, which was based on the running game, and it was not what worked for Van Dyke, which is what Rhett Lashley did the year before.
It is this. It's tailored toward him now.
Okay,
it's tailored toward him now. I think you're going to see a new Tyler Van Dyke.
Okay.
Oh, I want to get back to this Notre Dame Duke game.
Yes.
I mean, don't you need somebody to document this?
Go. You want to go to Notre Dame Duke?
Lubie and me? No, I want to hang out with Segreto in his expense account where he's greasing the Notre Dame coach. I would imagine the athletic director would like to meet you at one of the fine restaurants there. Maybe a little barbecue in Raleigh-Durham.
Maybe.
Wait, is this game's in Duke or this game's in South Bend?
Duke.
Oh.
At Duke.
Yeah.
Not the greatest place to go hang out.
I don't care about going to Duke. I don't know what their football atmosphere is.
Are you meeting Coach K, or are you also going to have some flattering things to say about the basketball program there? Jay Billis are going to come by.
This is the second time I have been to Duke.
Okay,
I went there about 3 years ago on a summer trip to meet the coach and to. They had a gathering of the bowls. So they had an Orange Bowl, Peach Bowl, everybody there. And one representative went from each bowl.
Okay.
And we went and we were catered to like you would not believe. And the AD at the time.
That's music to our ears, you know that.
Yeah, I know that. The AD at the time. It's
not catered. It's not journalism. That was the first thing.
The AD at the time was the former AD at Notre Dame.
Okay.
And it was just lovely. It was lovely.
It's nice, Tony. I mean, a nice reward, a little perk for the great work that you did all of those years. And
if that carries over 3 years into the future, and it carries over into the fandom, I think it'll be a good showing of the fans, and I think it'll be a good game. I by that time we'll have a barometer on Notre Dame, and by that time we'll have a barometer on Duke. We'll get to see what they can do.
All right. I mean, they've had their ups and downs, I guess. In football, and they have at times shown that they can beat good teams, but the rest of the time, you're thinking you can't wait for Cameron Indoor to open up and start rooting against Duke on basketball, which I root for them to lose every game. I don't know if I'm alone in that. I would imagine there is a large contingent of people out there that you just want to see them go down. I mean, nothing better than when they lost that last home game for Coach K. Oh, my God, I was thrilled. And when he started cursing out his team, before he received this big honor and his going away farewell, salute, salutation, which I suppose was well-deserved. But nonetheless, I mean, you have to sit there and go, you know what? I'll assure you this, everybody. And he did the Tebow speech.
Yeah.
You will never see this team play like shit like that again.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? You're angry? They're about to, pay homage to you for being this brilliant coach and leader, which He had a share of
He was
success.
he
so
was
you
he
can't
was a
take that away
coach.
from him.
He was coaching to the very end. He was coaching to the very end.
I
When
don't
he
know.
could
I
have.
mean, I thought it was like kind of a lame thing to do. Start scolding the team in front of the crowd there. I mean, could you blow a ceremony? It'd be like at your wedding when you finally tell the truth about your relationship, right? What do you mean? Tell death to his part. I can't stand her now.
Did you? Hey, wait. Where did you and Stan get married?
Vegas.
Vegas. Where
It was
else?
really Vegas.
Yeah.
In a small ass little chapel. 100%.
Yeah, we had a very festive ceremony that was thrown for us by the lovely and talented Leslie Visser and her husband at the time, the great Duke. And it was tremendous, actually, and including, and they also they duplicated for effect the chalk outline of my previous wife, who we had married at the same chapel, the little chapel of the bells there, and they had the chalk outline outside, still intact. Which should have served as Stang as a warning that she was making a rather large mistake.
And the guest list included?
We had a few people out there. It was nice. It was Lubie was there. At the time, Lubie was, I think, flying solo. I think he was between marriages also. And we had the professor and his mom came out. Many others. It was a good time had by all.
How did you meet Stang?
She was working at a place that I used to go into after we would do this crazy show at the Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar. And so I would go into this bar, Stingers, up the street. And sure enough, the Stang and I struck up a relationship. I mean, for her, regrettable. But for me, it's been okay. At 72, what am I going to do? Go back to being some kind of, playing the field jerk?
And how long you been married?
That's a good question, right? What was that Super Bowl, Libby? That was San Francisco. About 8 years? Something like that?
I think it was 2016.
Was that 15, 16, something like that?
Have you set a record yet?
Yeah, for him.
No. I've gone 10 in the past. I've gone 10 rounds. I've never gone to championship rounds. Never gone 12. So we'll see. Anyway, what about you, Tony? You're in marital bliss, in spite of the fact. I mean, do you take the wife on this road trip when you're
no? She doesn't.
Glad handing all of these other people and hobnobbing with all of these big shots.
She and I have been married 34 years.
Very good. Wow.
Yeah.
I think when you first met your wife, was that the night you were at Johnny's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I met her by way of Ed Odell. By way of
Ed Odell, man, another legend in South Florida broadcasting.
By way of, I was supposed to do a career day, and I was told the night before that I couldn't go because there was Shula was having a big press. Oh no, Gulfstream was having a big press conference. There was the time Gulfstream was announcing their Breeders' Cup.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, so I called around, and
you didn't want to miss those press conferences at the track anyway.
No.
They were always great. Yeah, talk about if it isn't catered.
And one thing led to another, and
you should have seen the shrimp. That's how people would come out of it.
Yeah,
the size of your arm.
Yeah. They were bigger than your arm. One thing led to another. I got a hold of her, and she did the thing for me, and the
rest is history.
We had it. So, c'est la vie. 34 years later.
Had it been around at the time, would you have taken her to Texas Roadhouse? Because that would have won.
Oh yeah, that would have been a given.
Yeah,
Texas Roadhouse.
Have you been recently, Tone? Have you been into Texas Roadhouse?
No,
Ed's not going to join us today, but
I was
want to tell the people about the virtues of this place.
I was waiting for you to tell me when you want to go. I want to go before I go to Vermont, so let's go.
When are you going to Vermont? That's the question.
Probably in a month.
Okay. All right. All right. So we'll do this. Yeah, we'll watch some college football at Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
We're going to try and do it on the other show. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
We can go have a great salad, great salmon, great steaks.
You have the salmon, man. I'm going for the steaks.
You can go there for salmon. I'm going there for steaks.
You have your salmon.
Great bread. Maybe I'll have maybe I'll do surf and turf when I go.
There you go. That's a good move.
There you go.
But great bread And you know what they do at Texas Roadhouse, what very few people know about, and we're hammering it home. They make 99% of what they make is on site. So if you go in the morning, the guys got voluminous. I mean, a voluminous amount of yeast and flour and bread, and he's kneading the bread, and the butchers in the freezer, he's cutting the meat. They're making the salad dressings, and when you order it, they're on top of it, and they bring it to you right away, and they bring it to you cold for a beer. They bring it to you hot for your meal. You can't beat it, and the price is right. You can't beat it. I keep telling people it is what it is. It's in a niche. It's in a niche restaurant. It's in a place that you can't beat it.
Yeah, you need places like this. You really do. I mean, it's great that they can do it, and individually owned and operated, and yet as chain restaurants go, you get that feeling like you're going into kind of a mom and pop place, and it really has that kind of vibe because the people are zeroed in on customer service. They're just absolutely great.
The service is tremendous.
Yeah,
they're trained every day. Every single day, they're trained about greeting people, about serving people, about taking care of the tables, and they make you feel like you're family. Every single person that goes in, every single one. So you can't beat the atmosphere. You can go with your kids, you can go by yourself, you can go with your date, you can go with anybody, or you can go by yourself. So
And the tab is going to be late, even if you're forced to pick one up for 4 or 5 people, like you were taking the Notre Dame athletic department out to dinner. I'd find a Roadhouse. If I was on my own dime, I'd be finding a Roadhouse in Raleigh-Durham. I'm sure there is one.
Yeah.
Tony, we love you, man. I mean, fantastic, as always, to see you, and glad you're doing well. Are you coming out this Friday?
No, I can't come out this Friday.
All right.
I have a date with my sister, and we're going to lunch. But
nice.
Bring it to the track. Do what I would do on any second date.
Leave him alone.
Give her the ultimate test. Can she tolerate being ignored completely while you spend your time?
Maybe I'll join you. How about I join you Thursday?
Okay, yeah, that'd be fine. Well, we have to figure out where we're going to be.
It's closer to your way if you want to go to Shenanigans.
Yeah.
Shenanigans. There you go.
To meet you. Pat's a huge Dolphin fan, so he probably would love to meet you.
I think you should go. Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay.
It's actually right on your way. To be brutally honest, it's Griffin all the way down.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, Shenanigans. You should come out. You'll have a good
Tony
time.
Segreto, ladies and gentlemen.
Until then, goodbye.
All right, Tony Segreto, old school.
Like, I don't know if that's called an epiphany when the light shines on darkness. Like, he's the dark, he's the light. So the epiphany would be us realizing his way.
He was right.
Like, when the guy who's the light realizes, maybe the garbage is right. I don't think I don't know what that's called, but I don't think it's an epiphany.
Yeah, I think it's an unfortunate change of heart, is it not?
It's very sad.
It's like you've been influenced by the devil. The demons are finally surfacing in Tony Segreto.
You would think he
thinks Messi mania is a bunch of bullshit. Could care less about the Marlins.
And he says, "Fuck Cueto."
Cueto blows.
Mike White. He was like, "Yeah, Mike White sucks."
When would you ever hear this from a Tony Segreto?
Never.
Something happened to him that allowed him to open up his eyes to the dark side. Like you said, it's like Kevin Sullivan coming back from Japan with that silly string, and all of a sudden, the guy who was like a nice guy, everybody taking pictures with little kids. All of a sudden, he's spewing this poison right into your face. The props in wrestling were never all that great, were they? Did anybody actually get a glimpse of a foreign object? What does a foreign object look like in reality?
The chairs look real. I don't know if the chairs were bullshit, but the rest of the stuff, I don't know. It always seemed.
I'm hoping, for the sake of the sanity and the relative, brain health of many of the people in the game, which we know they check out at a very young age. I guess those chairs weren't exactly breakaway quality.
No, they seemed real.
It's all such bullshit, though. I mean, I will never forget that when I was doing that TV wrestling match on Channel 39, and it was being promoted by Tyree Pride, the Haitian sensation. It was a kind of a local card there with a bunch of schmenky guys. Wasn't anything that you would see at the WWE. Although there were some has-been offshoots from McMahon that were wrestling that gave the card a little bit of luster. I believe, I don't know that, I can't say for sure, but there might have been the Macho Man Randy Savage involved in this thing.
Wow, really? Oh, jeez.
Oh, no, it wasn't Savage. It was Jimmy Superfly Snuka, who was already a has-been
Okay.
at that point. I mean, he was washed up. It may as well have been Argentina Apollo, right? Because, this guy had been finished for years. Could have been Antonino Rocca. You don't remember these guys. They were legend. That's a good question. We should pose that. And that could be, a good Skip Bayless type of sports talk topic. Who was the greatest barefoot wrestler ever? Right? Was it Antonino Rocca?
Was Yokozuna barefoot? I feel like Yokozuna was barefoot.
I'm going to give you one. And people probably, you have to be really old to remember this guy, but the Flying Frenchman, Eduardo Carpentier, I believe, might go down in history. If it wasn't Rocca, it was Carpentier as the greatest barefoot wrestler of all time. Anybody care to weigh in on that? I'm open to suggestions.
I don't know who wore
Inoue, the guy that wrestled Ali, wasn't he a barefoot wrestler? Would he qualify as a barefoot wrestler?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of who wasn't bare. Like, did they all wear shoes and a few were barefoot?
They all had the wrestling shoes. Those were great, man. I mean, you couldn't just go to any shoe store back in the day and buy them.
So who was barefoot?
As we say, the biggest fear of the Iron Sheik while he was alive was, God forbid, they should lose his luggage. Where are you going to get another pair of shoes like that? Can't just walk into, Target. I need the pointy shoes. No, the ones that look like I'm from Iran. Come on. All right. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so you can ponder that. That's a deep sports topic here. Greatest barefoot wrestler of all time was whom? And, it's a matter of opinion, totally subjective, so we don't know. But, Tony definitely has gone over to the dark side. He's gone Kevin Sullivan. If he's poo-pooing all of his stuff and doesn't even, you notice he didn't imply for a second that he was doing any serious work with this committee from the Orange Bowl.
No, I don't understand what his role is.
They're supposed to, just in case, on the off chance. I mean, what is the chance that Duke ends up in the Orange Bowl this year?
They're supposed to be pretty good this year. They did finish the season 8-4 last year, so they're supposed to actually be a decent top 25 caliber team.
I used to love seeing it when you would have 20 guys in green jackets up in the press box, and they were representing the Emerald Bowl, and there was no chance in hell that the University of Miami, this was when they were good. They eventually did. I guess it worked. They laid the groundwork for what would happen years later when Randy Shannon took over, where you would make consecutive Emerald Bowls and say, hey, see that? We're in a bowl game. That was it. But, you would get a kick out of these committees that were traveling all over the country on somebody else's dime on huge expense accounts, and all they were doing were scouting possibilities for their upcoming bowl game, no matter how insignificant that bowl game may have been at the time, right? Poulon Weed Eater Bowl. Yeah, notice the guys from the Weed Eater Bowl there. And they were there, just enjoying a couple of weekends in Miami, watching teams that would never in a million years end up appearing in their game. It was great. So Tony's in on that. That's a gravy train we should sign up for, Lubie, no? Do we need to get on that circuit? I mean, the free lunches with mayo are one thing, but that ain't a bad gig. All right, coming back with more in a moment. Thanks to Tony Segreto for joining us. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. Preseason games are all fairly short point spreads. The only big spread here, Chiefs 7.5 on the road over the Cardinals. Wouldn't you think the Cardinals would be more inclined to play a competitive game? Does Andy Reid win in the preseason? I think he might.
I think
he's one of those coaches that, he's not quite Harbaugh, but does he put an emphasis on winning in the preseason?
Like Mahomes always plays a couple series for some fucking reason. So
he likes it. I saw, his statement was that he wants to play in the preseason.
Yeah, they sort of care, and so I think that's what it is. He's not Harbaugh exactly where he's won 24 in a row, but he has a really good record in preseason, Andy Reid.
Okay, now we know the Arizona Cardinals are a mess, right? Kyler Murray's still out. What do you have, a torn ACL last year? I believe he did.
Yeah, something like that.
And is talking about possibly being ready for opening day. In behind him, they literally have nothing, right? The Cardinals. They're going to be a bad team again this year. Some people think they'll be the worst team in the league.
And that'd be pretty rough.
Yeah. New coach, right? Who took over the coaching reins for Arizona?
The Eagles offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah.
They had a whole hubbub. They were allowed to do the thing the Dolphins weren't allowed to do. They actually hired the guy and got no penalties when the Dolphins didn't hire the guy and did get penalties.
Yeah. You would have to say, the regulating body in the National Football League is about as consistent as the stewards at Saratoga, where you're just mystified time after time. It's like the Adelaide Bird scorecard. It really is. Melvina Lathan scores the fight. Well, by the way, Canelo, your man, is going to be in supposedly a big fight. But once again, would you say that he's a legendary boxer, Canelo Alvarez?
No.
Does he belong among the greatest of all time? People are would be inclined to say yes to that. I'm not sure I agree.
I think Triple G would have kicked his fucking ass if he had fought Triple G when Triple G wasn't 48.
He stole a couple of victories. He has a couple of losses. He froze in front of Money Mayweather when he had a big shot.
Yeah.
He lost to this guy Bivol when he tried to move up to light heavyweight, which, he did start at a much lower level there, but he's now the 168-pound unified champion, which is a division super middleweight that you don't see a whole lot of press about or, other champions there that are of great significance. He's going to fight one of the Charlos, but he's fighting Jermell Charlo, who competed at 154 pounds and is a 154-pound unified champion. So that guy has to bump up. And this is a bit more of an adjustment than when you're talking about the really lower weights where, it's like, obviously it's relative, but, you're only talking about a 4-pound swing and you're up 2 weight classes. 14 pounds he has to come up to fight Canelo, who has been juicing more, for a longer period of time than Jose Canseco.
Like when Money did the ducking stuff and with Manny Pacquiao and did I'm going to become a really tactician, defensive, boring ass fighter. He was already he was already great. Like he had proven that he could just kick the shit out of people. Canelo never did that phase. Like Canelo went from young up and coming dude who did nothing against Mayweather, even though Mayweather left himself exposed to do something. He did nothing against Mayweather.
Nothing.
Then going, you know what? I have this popularity. Now let me go fight no one. And let me go be boring as fuck. Like he never had the phase of let me go be dominant and then go be boring. Like all these.
I'm surprised he hasn't fought one of the Paul brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think,
or even Chris Paul for that matter.
Canelo. Why when I started being like, oh, this guy's something, he went into that. I'm going to duck guys and I'm going to be a boring ass defensive fighter. It's like no, dude. Like
Charlo also hasn't fought in like 2 years.
Canelo can go fucking.
He had a broken hand and he's been out of action. So you got a guy bumping up 14 pounds in weight, from junior middleweight to super middleweight, skipping a middleweight division altogether, who hasn't fought since, I guess it's 2022, sometime in 2022, and is recovering from a broken hand. And that's the big challenge for Canelo Alvarez that he's taken on. He was supposed to fight his brother, Jermall, his twin brother, who's a 160-pound champion. Undefeated, and both those the Charlos are good fighters. It's not like they're chumps, but I think this is a pretty tall assignment for Jermell Charlo, no? Against Canelo, who once again is going to talk about how he's only looking to establish legacy, which seems like a real pile of shit, doesn't it?
And get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry. I know the Mexicans haven't had a great fighter in a while, so I guess that's what it is he's the guy they've rallied around, but he's literally all fluff.
Extremely popular, no doubt.
It's fine because he's all fluff. Like right when he was getting to the place where if he had fought some real fights, he could have gotten to legendary status. He did the Mayweather. Like Mayweather was already a legend. That's why Mayweather got away with it. Like he wasn't. Where's his legendary fight? Where's Canelo's great moment where he just torched someone? Like I don't know.
He's torched a lot of people, but
it's garbage. You're talking about like a real dude. Like Money was taking on a bunch of people when he was young and just beating the shit out.
Yeah, Mayweather was great when he was a young fighter. He was absolutely fantastic. It's kind of like the people that never saw Roberto Duran as a lightweight, where he dominated completely. But anyway, that's coming up September 30th. That's going to be the big deal. And I was reading where Alvarez, is talking about he's only fighting now for his legend.
He can go fuck himself.
And he plans to be around for another 4 or 5 years. So he is bilking the public. I mean, this is more outrageous than the legal fund that Trump is using to defend himself in all of these witch hunt cases that are coming against him one after another. I saw something funny. It was somebody had posted up that, oh, geez, I can't believe this. I haven't taken down my third indictment decorations. It's already Christmas. What are you talking about? All right, we're coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. The spreads, as I said, rather relatively consistent all throughout. You have the Falcons as 6.5-point favorites over the Bengals for some reason. Other than that, and the Chiefs spread, you do have a 7-point spread with the Seahawks at home over the Cowboys. Why would that be? Do the Cowboys have some kind of bizarre philosophy about preseason that we don't know about, Louis?
Yeah, probably. They're like all in on this season, even though no one around the league is all in on them.
What was the lineman's name who was holding out? Martin. He just signed.
No.
Right? But remember Jerry Jones was saying, well, we can't pay this guy because, we're going to have to, pay Parsons next year. That's never a good thing to read, is it? When you're a player and you're thinking, I'm the glue of this team. Without the O-line, you think Dak Prescott's completing any passes? No. All right, and also the update on Aaron Rodgers, another shitty day of practice. So while the Jets are euphoric that they got Dalvin Cook, they're looking at subpar performances here, Lubie, from the great Aaron Rodgers in practice. You want the capsulization real quick before we hit this break? Okay. Rodgers report. Rodgers was 9 for 21, being intercepted by Jordan Whitehead when he forced a deep ball into traffic, and another ball that got tipped by a linebacker, Quincy Williams, and could have been picked as well. How about that? I mean, that's really scrutinizing a practice, is it not?
It's fucking stupid.
Though he recovered to hit Garrett Wilson for a touchdown late in practice and dealt with poor offensive line play, it was far from the best day for the quarterback.
I think the only thing that matters in there is the poor offensive line play. Like, I think people are getting ahead of it. Like, the Dolphins' offensive line isn't good, and health is a major concern for them. The Jets' offensive line is a disaster. Like, Beckham was supposed to be their best offensive lineman. He's on the third team, and he might not make the roster. Like, that is the thing that people are just glossing over. Like, they're built their team very much like the Dolphins, where they got all the skill position and all this crap, and the one thing that's going to make or break their season is the one thing that they didn't address.
And it's Garrett Wilson is great, man. It's Sauce Gardner.
He's a talent. He's a talent. Gardner's a talent. Cook will definitely help. The dude's still a top 5 or 6 running back in the league, to be really honest.
Yeah, and they weren't, necessarily hurting in that position anyway.
They have talent there, but if you don't have an offensive line, then none of it matters. Like, I don't know, and I understand. Like Dave Height said, no one has an offensive line. That's not true. The good teams do. The Eagles, the Chiefs, like the Chargers actually have a much improved offensive line. Like, the Bills have a pretty good offensive line. Like, the good teams actually do have an offensive line. The bad teams don't. Like, that's the thing.
It's amazing, yeah. These fat slugs up front.
Niners have a great offensive line.
Decide your fate.
Like,
well, and Dallas always had that big time offensive line, even though they weren't able to capitalize on it. Well, when was their last championship? 90s. You keep seeing that picture, it comes up annually where they'll have like a hot Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. And then they'll have like 2 ladies that look older than your grandmother, Libby. And they'll say, here, those 2 cheerleaders on the outside were cheerleaders the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a championship.
It was 93, I think. Or the 93 season.
It wouldn't look that old then. All right, we're coming back with more. Do you want to get into some preseason NFL analysis, though, Libby? What do you think?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. I mean, this Canelo Alvarez thing, I don't know that that's inspiring anybody to say, hey, you know what, I got to see more of that show. But, we don't like to ignore, any sport. And I don't know. I'd be on the fence. I think you would have to credit Canelo because of his popularity as much as anything. I mean, is he the Butterbean Esh of real boxers where he's popular, but has he really distinguished himself as being one of the greats of all time?
No. The Mexicans.
I mean, is he in the category? I mean, even though Morales and Barrera had their share of losses and they got involved with those fights with Manny Pacquiao, including the trilogy they had with each other, which everybody rates as one of the most spectacular 3-fight series of all time.
Yep.
Were they not, considered to be better overall than Canelo Alvarez? Who I believe, like you did, if he really had pressed the issue about having built this big legacy, he would have taken on more imposing challenges when they were there. You can't fault him, cleverly managed. and makes tons of money.
He made a ton of money. Yes, he made
ton
a
of money.
ton of money.
So I mean, and seems to be fine. He seems to be not only in full control of all of his capacities at this stage, but on top of that, he's just out there having a good time. I think he plays more golf than he does sparring. It's true. I know. He got infatuated with the game of golf and became compulsive about it. And I think that's what he does all day instead of train. So he's literally out there like Sonny Liston was before the Ali fight, playing golf, a round of golf the day before the fight. And, taking on these guys that he knows he can beat. So, but we'll see if he goes. I mean, he probably will go down, in the eyes of many as one of the greats of all time. I'm a little reluctant to embrace that. All right, coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:47. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodzie, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodzie, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Hear me! I am your new president. From this day on, the official language of San Marcos will be Swedish. Silence! In addition to that, all citizens will be required to change their underwear every half hour. Underwear will be worn on the outside so we can check. Furthermore, all children under 16 years old are now 16 years old.
What's the Spanish word for straitjacket?
Power has driven him mad.
Welcome back to the Defo Show.
It's pretty incredible, Lubie, as we can do our entire political commentary just by downloading a couple of movie clips. You have the speech there from the movie Bananas, which sounds very much like the Iowa caucus, and with the Republicans. And then the Pentangeli testimony, I think, is going to weigh in heavily once these people start taking a witness stand there in these various Trump criminal cases, which now are 4 deep. And are there any more pending? I don't know.
Right.
People, I mean, this has been so wild that people forgot that he was just found, complicit and, I guess, essentially guilty in that civil case of physically molesting a woman years ago, which has been an assertion that's been out there about Donald Trump over and over again. But nonetheless, I mean, here was a jury of his so-called peers. There probably were a couple. I mean, was that jury also on a witch hunt? Lubie, what do you think?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I feel like he doesn't understand what the term witch hunt is. You can't have 7 witch hunts.
Yeah. Literally, the Salem witch trials didn't have this many witch hunts. Incredible. He's going back to the 1600s, this cat. All right. And this one's for Jim Sarney. And I thought about you, Jim, the other day, because I'm late to the party with virtually everything. Would you agree? I mean, having known me for the time that you have, I'm almost always late to the party.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to financial matters and matters of degeneracy. But even in legitimate financial endeavors, I was always late to the party. I had some cash, and everybody was making big money in the stock market. And so I think I had like $100,000, and I gave it to a financial advisor I knew, and knew from the radio, and she was very successful. And the first month I had this money with her, I made like $8,000, and I thought, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And the next month, as the market began to crash, I ended up losing like 13,000 for a net loss of 5, and I got out. All right. The market subsequently did crash. Had I hung on to all of this stuff, I don't know where I'd be at today. But remember when everybody was like getting their 401k wiped out and stuff like that? Were you around during that period of time? I had to be, 90s, somewhere in the 90s?
Yes.
You had to be a young kid. And then, of course, 2008, I went out and bought myself 2 houses. I already had one that I had a mortgage on, but I mortgaged that house and bought myself 2 other properties that were under construction. And everybody was just flipping these before the places were even built.
Yeah.
Not me. I get stuck with both of them. One that was devalued by about 50% the day that it was finally erected, and the other that never got off the ground. And I was able to recover a small portion of my money through a bankruptcy case that the guy had filed. That was the builder there. So, I mean, and there it was. I mean, sound logic, right, Lubie? You're thinking, okay, what's the safest thing? Everybody was making a killing in the stock market, Lubie. Guys were, saying, hey, I had 40,000 yesterday. I got 200,000 today. Can you believe this? Real estate, you would buy a place for $300,000 and it would be worth 500 before they even laid the foundation. It was incredible what was going on. That bubble had to burst. Now, I'm not really good at seeing that, and I'm late to the party again on this one, and this is for Jim Sarney. After watching the earlier destruction by the New York Liberty over the Las Vegas Aces, the hardcore favorite to win the WNBA championship, the Aces have been sensational. I was thinking about making a WNBA futures bet.
Oh, Jesus.
How much of a disgrace is that?
Oh,
a WNBA futures bet. And I was going to bet the Liberty to win the championship, and they were like the second choice, but you were getting, something respectable. And I was thinking, wow, this was supposed to be the big WNBA super team, was it not?
I have no idea. I don't know anyone on any team in the NBA. I can't lie to you.
And sure enough, I whiffed on that, and now it's too late, right?
I wouldn't do it now. I mean,
well, they just and it's as Andy pointed out, I had money on Maple Leaf Mel.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't mean to laugh about that, but I mean, only me, right?
That's the horse that died,
right? What do I do? Do I cry about these exacta tickets?
That's the horse that broke its leg and had to euthanize. Exactly.
They're bringing the screen out. It's horrifying. I'm an animal lover, like you, Lubie. I mean, I am a bona fide animal lover. I think the horse is a magnificent animal. To see this is tragic. Yet, we shrug our shoulders and go, hey, you know what? Did they put you up? Yeah, okay, it's going to be a 1-2. That's all anybody cared about. Well, so what's it going to be? It's going to be a 1-2. All right, we'll take it. But I whiffed on this. I think it's too late to bet the Liberty to win the championship. No,
I would think you're not going to get anyone near the same odds. That's for sure.
You would think not. I mean, it had to be reduced like in half from what it was just a couple of days ago before this game took place. So there it was. But if anybody can jump on the bandwagon too late. I remember that time the Majestic Lions slot machines where everybody was winning money, like thousands of dollars. They couldn't believe it. You couldn't get anybody off the machine. If they got up, it was because they were tired of lifting these buckets of cash that they were carrying away from it. They had them somehow in some kind of synchronization that was not favorable at all to the casino and very favorable to the fans, right? And or the patrons, and everybody's winning. So I finally get on the machine and I put $100 in there, thinking I'm going to get out for the $1,500. I'm down for the trip, and that 100 evaporated in seconds. I got 2 cherries the entire time, 2 fucking cherries. No lions showing up. They were coming straight across, right? I don't know why anybody would get up from these machines, except they must have known that somebody somewhere, without actually taking a screwdriver to the machine itself, had recalibrated the machine so that they were no longer paying off. And all of a sudden, we're the brick that they were intended to be. Because who's playing the slot machines by the elevator except a sick fucking degenerate. They put them right in front of the elevators at the MGM Grand when they reconstructed the place. I was fortunate. They were doing a lot of promotions there as Don King was dealing with Tyson being in jail. And so he had all these Julio Cesar Chavez fights. And they were sending us out there. I was out in Vegas like every other week. I think Chavez fought like every weekend. It was great. What is he now? 107-2. That's his record. Here's another stiff we're serving up to him. But I mean, they had the machines right in front of the elevators. Lubie, have you ever seen that in any other casino?
I feel like those are the schmanky machines. I feel like those are the ones.
Are you kidding me? It's like when they put that giant machine there that like nobody's ever playing, and then every now and then, somebody sits down and goes, "Oh, let's play that," right? And you're thinking, whatever money you put in that machine is about to evaporate in seconds.
100%.
You may as well go outside on a 120-degree day and just put a bowl of water out there that you're going to come back and drink later. It's going to be evaporated, my friends. Just sucked up by the sun. By the elevator. It should be illegal.
I love that you're the one playing it. It's like.
But I got there late to the party, just like I am with Sony's New York Liberty, which he's fallen in love with, right? Who's the chick? Ionescu, is that her name?
Oh, it's Serena Ionescu who's on that.
Yeah.
Oh, she's good.
She's got like Kobe Bryant in the women's league. It's incredible. She's scoring 40 a game. She's fantastic.
I don't know.
Yeah, I like that little chucker on the Aces, Kelsey Plum. She's good. Not quite Diana Taurasi in my book as being the all-time example of a woman who could go out there and kick the ass of any bunch of guys in a game. No?
In her prime, I always said it. I always thought I didn't think she could play in the league, but I thought she could definitely like give some men good.
She wouldn't be an NBA player, but if she shows up at the Y.
Yeah, I thought she could give some good dude players a run.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right, Max's Grill, right? You know where it is, right, Lubie? Meisner Park there?
I will find it. Yeah.
I think you'll find it. The parking is the situation that you have to contend with a little bit there sometimes. Because what if it's like a free Gucci bag giveaway at one of the stores there? Then, Mayo, we're fucked. There is a garage there, but by the time you schlep there from the heat, you're schwitzing. It's like, I don't know. Meisner Park. It's going to be what, about 100 degrees out there today? What do you think, Libby?
Oh, yeah. It's not getting cooler yet.
It's not getting any cooler.
Hoping we have a couple. Hoping in September it magically goes from 115 to like 98.
You're hoping you get struck by a bolt of lightning so you can cool off. All right, we'll see you at 12 o'clock. Max's Grill, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. What kind of show is Mayo going to put on today? He was a little bit out of it yesterday, wasn't he? He's eating like cold Hormel chili out of a can.
Yeah,
that had been in his. How long is a can of Hormel chili in your pantry there?
Forever. It's one of those things you don't eat.
You bought it on a whim. You didn't make it that night.
Never
and
eat
then
it.
I have a can of tomato soup in there that I bought like 2 years ago.
Yeah, you never eat it.
And every now and then it hits me. Hey, that's still in there. And then I think, why don't you just, have your cardiologist on a joint 911 call so he can meet you at the hospital? They find out right away where they're taking you. Yeah, I'll be at Holy Cross in a half an hour. Okay, no, we're picking them up now. That was the thing in Century Village with my mom, where the ambulances were kind of like Uber.
It was just rotating.
Okay, Joe, bring up number 105.
Yeah,
Plymouth P. That's where she's at, 403. Right, pick you up, take you to Memorial West, drop you in for a couple of days stay, boom, bring you right back.
I was living there, like you just become numb to the ambulances.
That's it, one after another. No, they were lined up like taxis. They really were. I guess that would be an old reference now because you don't see taxis anymore. Does anybody drive a cab? Is that like even remotely profitable? Yeah, you do see taxis?
Yeah, the airport, you see a ton of them. In New York, it's a big deal still.
Oh, New York, yeah.
Getting an Uber in New York sucks. It's a lot easier to fucking take a taxi in New York than
I saw somebody paying $50 for like a 2-block Uber ride the other day in New York City. People were complaining. Yeah, Uber's gone out of control. Remember when that was like cheap and you were thrilled?
Yep, it was
great. Like, hey, the cab ride's $30. This is only $5.
Yeah, that's not the case anymore. Like everything else, it's skyrocketed.
Unbelievable. All right, we got to run. We'll see you at 12 o'clock. Boca Raton, Max's Grill, right here on South Florida Live. Let's Eat South Florida Facebook page, 116,000 strong, Mayo with a monster there. And we'll have the show up there at 12 o'clock as they have some very, very good stuff there and wide variety, Lubie. I think you're going to enjoy it. Max's Grill. Wide variety.
Started there where they used to do 3-for-1s.
Yeah.
So I would go there every Thursday when I was in college, and I would be down for the summer. We would go there literally every Thursday
I mean you can go anything from fine dining type of items that you would expect to see in some foo restaurant, down to like nachos. I think they're great. All right, we'll see you later on as we leave you know that. Thanks to Tony for joining us earlier on the program. There, I love that expense account he was on. Right? Imagine being on a bowl game expense account. Woo! Talk about name, image, and likeness. It's 9:01.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.